We don't change anything in our approach to address other factors like the political calendar. I'll say this too. We never use our tools to support or oppose a political party, a politician, or any political outcome. This is my 4th presidential election at the Fed. I can tell you this is how we think about it. This is what we do. So anything that we do before, during, or after the election will be based on the data, the outlook, and the balance of risks.
All right, there you go. Federal Reserve Chairman Jay Powell insisting that politics play no part in monetary policy decisions. The central bank holding interest rates steady yesterday for the 8th straight meeting, opening the door to a September rate cut right before the presidential election. Joining me now is former Soros Fund Management Chief Investment Officer, Key Square Capital Management CEO and founder, Scott Bessent. Scott, great to see you.
Good to be with you, Maria.
Your reaction to what you just heard from Jay Powell?
Well, look, the Fed's always political, 93% registered Democrats. You know, Jay Powell's been political for his entire tenure, and he's saying he's not going to be political now. You know, I think if he wanted to not be political, he would indicate that, you know, there could be rate cuts after the election when President Trump wins. He hasn't committed to that. But I think importantly, they've backed themselves into a corner here with this unstable equilibrium they've gotten the economy into. They got to keep the stock market and real estate market up through the election, because it's the upper end of Americans who are powering the economy, because the bottom 50%, as you and I have talked about, are getting crushed.
And you think they're doing that how? I mean, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve or Janet Yellen with the auctions, how are they keeping the economy propped up, as you say, going into the election?
Well, it's the forward guidance on the rate cuts. We saw what the stock market did yesterday.
Yeah, that's right.
And then, you know, Janet Yellen changing the QRA. You know, I would tell all your viewers to watch bipartisan 30-page paper by Stephen Marin, Nouriel Roubini, Hudson Capital, explains exactly what Janet Yellen did. You know, she and her lieutenants got caught with their hand in the cookie jar.
Wow.
Manipulating, you know, Treasury issuance. They, in essence, have taken over the Fed.
That's unbelievable. I want to get your take on the race where it stands, because former President Trump is slamming the Biden-Harris administration for the high inflation that we've seen because of all of the spending. The impact to the black community he spoke about yesterday. He spoke about immigration and inflation in front of the black community yesterday, the National Association of Black Journalists convention in Chicago. Here's a bit of it. Watch.
The inflation is absolutely destroying our middle class, our working class, virtually every class. Inflation is a disaster in our country. Young people, young black people, they don't have the American dream anymore. They can't buy a house. They can't borrow the money because of the cost of the money. They can't buy it because of the cost of housing, because of the cost to build it, because of inflation. Inflation is a disaster, and it's destroying our country, and it's destroying the black community probably as much.
So this is the crux of this race, inflation. I mean, this is, you know, most people don't know the ins and outs of an election and sort of, you know, what's going on behind the scenes, but they know how much ground beef costs them, eggs cost them, bread costs, and they are sick of it. Kamala Harris is distancing herself from all of it. You say that the vice president owns President Biden's economy and she'll keep it going. Explain.
Well, as we saw from the debate, President Biden has not been running things, you know, for the past, you know, who knows whether it's months or years. So it could only have been the vice president who was in charge. And let's go back. The Vice President Harris was the deciding vote for the American Rescue Plan and the Inflation Reduction Act.
Yes, that's right.
So she owns those. They would not have passed. It was 50-50. She broke the tie.
Yes, she did.
Those caused the great inflation. She was the border czar. That immigration, so, you know, I've talked about interest rates, inflation, and immigration are the things killing working class America. Tell me which one of those she doesn't own.
Yeah, well, she's walking away from all of it, by the way, Scott. You know that. She said she was never the border czar. Now, I think that when Joe Biden first named her border czar, she didn't really want it. And I think she probably said to him, I don't want this, but he gave it to her anyway and stuck it to her. So she was forced to go to Texas one day. She didn't actually go to where the crossings are, but she did go to, she claimed she went to the border once.
Well, look, she's been in favor of these mass immigration policies. She's in favor of the Californication of the U.S. economy, you know, which is just spin, spin, spin. Record numbers of people leaving California. going to other states.
Right.
I don't think we want the United States to be like California.
Let me get your take on Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. She campaigned for Harris in Philadelphia, and they were with Pennsylvania Governor, a possible VP pick, Josh Shapiro, which you heard that name on this program first. It could very well be the running mate of Kamala, Josh Shapiro, or Mark Kelly from Arizona. Watch this.
Vice President Harris has indicated her support for avoiding tax increases for middle-income families. She's played an important role in determining our economic policy and general approach to tax fairness over the last 3.5 years.
Wow. You know, it really is disheartening to see Janet Yellen go stump for somebody. I mean, she's the Treasury Secretary.
Well, Maria, she's gone from technocrat to apparatchik. And, you know, she may or may not be in violation of the Hatch Act. You know, she's using her position to campaign. And, you know, so, you know, that on the Secretary Yellen, she forgets she's not Professor Yellen anymore.
No.
2, she's manipulated the Treasury issuance. She goosed financial conditions, which I think have actually hurt the Democrats because it's the, you know, in the Biden-Harris America, you either have assets or you have debt.
Yeah.
And as President Trump was telling his audience yesterday, you know, for historical reasons, Black Americans have fewer assets, and you know they're getting crushed. And then 3, you know, back to the you know the 3 I's: inflation, immigration, and interest rates.
Right.
And you know, it makes me sad. It makes me sad to see that the Biden administration, while you know, yelling that Donald Trump is going to break all the norms. You know, it is not normal for a Treasury Secretary to be out in the campaign trail. It is not normal for a Treasury Secretary to give a speech like she did in Arizona talking about the threat to democracy. It is not normal for the President of the United States and now the Vice President and the Democratic nominee, or soon-to-be Democratic nominee, to talk about rejiggering the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, the rule of law is what attracts people into the U.S. You want to talk about a dollar collapse or a problem in our markets, start messing around with the rule of law like they're doing in Venezuela and you know, see what happens.
Well, it's a great point that you make, and I think at this point it's politics all the time in this White House, and they're all pulling for Kamala Harris, but we really need to hear more of an agenda from Harris because, you know, all we have is a record in the Biden-Harris administration, and it's not good when it comes to the economy. Now, you just mentioned the markets. What do you think the rest of the year? Has there been a Trump trade in place? Because Nate Silver still says that Trump has the edge, although she's taken away some of his lead as she has, you know, she's gotten the enthusiasm up in the Democrat Party.
Yeah, look, the reason we have the Trump trade is because you know, Jerome Powell signaling rate hikes, Janet Yellen messing around with you know, the Treasury issuance, and then the market anchoring onto you know, Donald Trump winning November 5th. I think probably the reason we got the wobble in the market the past couple of weeks is you know, post the
debate, post Kamala coming in.
Yeah, or you know, post the Republican convention, then you know when we got the putsch and the Democratic Party replaced Joe Biden, you know, Kamala Harris has gotten a bounce in the polls.
Yes.
And you know, I think as the bounce wanes, then you know, the market will be fine, and we'll see what happens in November.
So you think markets are right here focused on this election?
It's all there is.
Yeah.
It's all there is. And I think what your viewers should also focus on is if the Republicans don't have the trifecta, if there's a Democratic House and the Republicans are not able to get the Tax Cuts and Job Act restated, then it's going to be a mess. It's going to be the biggest tax hike in history, and the Democrats will own that.
At a time that things are actually slowing down.
Things are really slowing
Quite a
down.
bit, yeah.
You know, we're seeing it from small business. We're seeing it for low-end consumers.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that's one of the reasons the Fed's hitting the panic button. It's not inflation.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that they've wound down inflation. The economy is buckling as we speak.
Scott, thank you so much. Great insights from you as always.
Good, thanks.
We so appreciate it. Scott Bessent here.